The second segment of the Nightly News is brought to you by Labrie Credit Union. Labrie Credit Union. We are not a bank. We are better.
Welcome back. The Castries Central MP Richard Frederick is discussing plans to tackle the perennial issue of flooding in the city of Castries. Over the weekend, the city was submerged by water due to a weather system. He says there are certain systems that are already in place and simply need to be implemented properly. Frederick indicated that when it comes to ensuring that the city is elevated, a lot must and will be done.
The city of Castries, for a time immemorial, has been dealing with the perennial issue of flooding whenever there is an extended period of rain. Over the weekend, the entire island experienced the effects of a weather system, and as usual, the city of Castries was flooded. Castries Central MP Richard Frederick says audits are being done to ensure that proper and adequate systems are in place to assist with the mitigation of flooding in the city.
Under my stewardship, 2 pumps were bought. 2 pumps were bought and were placed next to La Place Carénage. It really disturbed me. I told the city on Saturday, the accumulation of garbage because of the flooding, whatever. I mean, the city will flood because we are below sea level. But we can militate against the quickness in the flooding if those pumps were operational. I don't think, as I speak, both pumps are operational to maximum capacity. And that is where we must first start. Once we ensure those pumps are functional, we can now revisit the whole flooding situation and make a determination as to how we proceed.
While the Distress Fund was created with the intention of assisting fire victims, some have argued that individuals who have fallen on ill fortune or lost their houses, whether by man-made or acts of nature, should be covered under the fund. Frederick was asked whether the public should expect to see a return of the Distressed Fund, given that at least one family was displaced, another dwelling house was destroyed, and another is being closely monitored following this past weekend's weather system.
The government is moving steadfastly in the direction of seeking funds for a house repair program. That is definitely on the cards, Madam PS. And in the not too distant future, the government will be assisting persons throughout the length and breadth of this country in relation to house repairs. The National Relief Fund, I have at this point, I am not equipped with any information that I can adequately or realistically or in a concise manner answer that particular question. But all I can say is I am part of a government that is extremely caring and sensitive to the needs of the citizens of this country.
Frederick is of the view that the new administration will put measures in place to assist individuals who need it. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Geraldine Lendor Gabriel will be the new mayor of Castries. Members of the public are weighing in on her appointment.
A new mayor has been appointed to the city of Castries today. It is no secret that she will have a tall task ahead of her. Today, Hot 7 took to the streets to ask you what you believe should be her first priority.
I feel the mayor should come in the market because there's the things that the trays that they build in the market, they have some top trays. And I believe these trays preventing people that are at the back from being seen. So I believe the first priority of the mayor should be one of those things to see if she could take out some of the trays because they say like some people using it and some people are just there picking up dust. And the other thing is that they should pressure hose the market because from the time that market opened, they have not done that.
Knowing the new mayor as I do, and the success rate that she brought to St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority back in the years that she was in charge, I have full confidence in her ability to do a damn good job with the transitioning of the Castries City Council.
Geraldine, you need to go back, way back from where she started. She was a manager of solid waste. And if you go through the background of where she worked and all the things, you can see that she's a woman who's capable. And I have known that lady for so long, and so I personally believe that she will, because when you watch, there are some women who receive management, they can do it better than some men and something, right? Once when the fortnight comes to get the salary, they sometimes 2-3 days or something. And I personally believe that this issue will lie down for we lie down permanent as well.
The new mayor coming in, make sure they have certain things in the right place. Like you need equipment, you need trucks, you need, for the work to be done. For work to be done, you need the equipment, and that should be her first task for the job.
As a tall order, I think the first priority should be to review what was happening under the last administration, the policies and procedures. I mean, we all know the conflict there was between the city police and the regular police, and if they had the proper authority to arrest and implement, you know what I mean? So maybe we need to look into this. I think the city police is a good idea. It should just be about the process. There shouldn't be like a shortcut to be able to, be a police officer. Because in essence, they're a police officer of the city. So I think they should go through the proper training and protocols as the regular police go. And I think at the end of the day, the commissioner of police should be responsible for all police officers and not just a separate entity altogether. I felt that gave the past mayor too much power.
From what I see in the last mayor self, well, I think he was doing his job. I don't know, maybe I guess his time up, so he had to go. But I don't know, maybe try to see to it that when the rainfall Castries stop flooding. That's the number one, keeping the city clean. Because, as people in that city, some of the times I realize we don't even really care. People don't want to take stuff and throw it into a bin. They just drop it on the ground. And it's always city council have to clean it up for them. So, maybe give opening speech out to the people and tell them, try to be much more, how can you say that, environmental, healthy, and, take the trash and put it in a bin and stop litter in the city like that, because I guess that's what causing all of the flooding going on there right now. But that's the main things, Otherwise, the city looks good, The last person doing a good job, I cannot complain.
Well, there you have it. Reporting for the Hot 7 Nightly News, I am Karim Nelson.
St. Lucia is well on its way to ensuring it achieves a sustainable COVID-19 vaccine policy in country. More from Fennell Neptune.
The Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs recently engaged stakeholders in a consultation on COVID-19 vaccine policy aimed at addressing vaccine hesitancy and improving vaccine coverage in St. Lucia. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belma George says she is very pleased that the consultation provided an opportunity for the public to be involved in the decision-making process as to foster acceptability of the COVID-19 vaccine.
The majority of the consultation was giving us a chance to listen to the voice of the various stakeholders. So it ranged from those members who were completely against the use of the vaccines, and they were able to give us what some of their fears were, what some of their concerns were, and they also indicated how they would prefer vaccines to be rolled out, how they wanted it to be made available to the public. So we did take note of the viewpoints of a lot of those stakeholders, and we invited them in 1 week to provide their position paper, which we are going to use to guide so that Cabinet can get a feel of the opinions and the ideas and the views of the various stakeholders for their information.
Anatomical pathologist Dr. Stephen King says he was delighted to participate in this consultation and to hear the feedback from the public.
It went through a whole series of emotions. There was a lot of disagreement, a lot of conversation. But I think that was what is important, because none of us have the absolute truth. And it's only together that we can find the best way forward. The other thing I think that struck me was the need for information, the need to have more of these kinds of dialogues, the need to engage people more. The more we educate, the more we engage, in fact, the more we become educated, because I don't have all the information knowledge. I learned in that consultation, speaking to people.
Dr. Sharon Belma George also said it is important to continue the promotion of stakeholder dialogue as to chart a roadmap for recommendation on the vaccine policy.
So this is the first of others to come, and especially since the new vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine, will be available from 12 years and older, we are hoping to have another consultation, but this time with our local pediatricians and with the Ministry of Education as well on board to guide and to have a discussion, because we have to allow parents as well to voice their concerns. We have to let teachers voice their concerns as well. So we need to look at every stakeholder to ensure that their voice is heard.
The Ministry of Health thanks the stakeholders, including the medical fraternity, legal fraternity, trade union federations, business sector, tourism sector, community leaders, and the media, to name a few, for their participation in this consultation. Reporting from the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and Elderly Affairs, I am Fennel Neptune.
Haiti was recently hit by a 7.2 magnitude earthquake, which was shortly followed by a tropical storm. The death toll as a result of the two natural disasters continues to increase as the country looks to recover. St. Lucia has indicated that it will be lending its support to its Caribbean sister. The director of NEMO has called on the public to be as generous as they can.
In 2010, Haiti was hit by a 7.0 magnitude earthquake. The collapsed buildings defining the landscape of the disaster area came as a consequence of Haiti's lack of building codes. Without adequate reinforcement, the buildings disintegrated under the force of the quake, killing or trapping their occupants. Approximately 85,000 people perished as a result of that earthquake. Just over a decade later, Haiti has been hit by another earthquake, this time a 7.2 magnitude. The death toll of this natural disaster now stands at 2,200, with at least 300 people still missing. Days later, the country was hit with heavy rains. With Haiti now in a deeper state of turmoil, the Caribbean and the world over is looking to assist the country to get back on its feet again. Here in St. Lucia, the director of the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, Doreen Gustav, says St. Lucia will be lending its support to Haiti.
There is still ongoing recovery efforts, and from the regional mechanism, which is SEDIMA, the coordinating unit for the coordinating body for the region, an account has been set up, and I will be making that information available to the media today so that they could put the information out there for the public to make donations. They have asked that monetary donations be made, and we are going to be using that mechanism to get the donations out. Instead of setting up a separate account in St. Lucia, we're going to use the SEDIMA account to make the donation. So we'll be putting that information out there.
Gustav explained that in a situation like this, monetary contributions are better.
They were saying that they prefer buying the items in-house rather than getting items sent to them. Because you see, with emergencies, we see a lot of unsolicited donations coming through, and most of the things cannot be used. And so they have gone that route instead.
She says while international agencies are on the ground assisting with the recovery process, once called upon, St. Lucia will be availing personnel to help.
USAID has been on the ground from very early. We have the regional mechanism from the participating states of SEDIMA, assisting especially in the National Emergency Operations Center. They have asked for help in that area. They have reached out to us, and we are putting in place someone who would be going out there. We have been in discussion with that person because of the language barrier. So they'd rather reaching out to St. Lucia and Dominica to assist especially in the National Emergency Operations Center.
More than 12,000 people were injured as a result of the latest natural disaster, as reported by the Haitian Civil Protection. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. There's more news after the break.
The second segment of the Nightly News was brought to you by Labrie Credit Union. Labrie Credit Union. We are not a bank. We are better.